Okay, biodiversity. Okay, biodiversity is the diverse varieties of plants and animals that interact with each other. Okay, how to classify the organisms? Okay, based on taxonomy. Taxonomy is the study about identification, naming, and also classification of organisms based on same characteristic. And this classification according hierarchy. Okay, what are the importance of biodiversity? The biodiversity will um, provide knowledge for us either in medicines, environmental service, and research. And taxonomy allow us to identify and determine species. Biodiversity also will shows genetic variations and prevent extinctions of organisms. Okay, here is the examples of taxonomical hierarchy. Okay, this one you need to memorize in sequence. Awak kena memorize ikut susunan. Okay, start with the kingdoms at the bottoms. Okay, kingdoms and then phylums, class, order, family, genus, and species. Okay, so how does scientists classify organisms using taxonomical hierarchy? Okay, macam mana saintis nak classify organism dengan cara guna taxonomical study ini? Okay, dia start dengan kingdoms. Dia cari dulu kingdom apa, and then dia akan cari pula phylum apa, sampailah until jumpa genus apa, and then come out with species. Okay, how to memorize this taxonomic hierarchy in sequence? Okay, examples contohnya, saya bagi mnemonic ini. Katy Perry comes over for grape soda. So K stand for kingdoms, Perry, phylums, comes, class, over, order, for, family, grapes, genus, and soda species. So last kali kita akan dapat the names of species. Okay, examples. Humans. From kingdom Animalia. And then from Animalia, divide into Chordata. From Chordata, Mammalia. And then from Mammalia, primates, order primates. And from the order primates, dia diverse. Kita dapat dia humans dalam Hominidae. And then genus Homo, species Sapiens. Common name for humans, kita panggil humans, but for the names of species, we call it as Homo sapiens species. How to write? Kita akan write dengan genus dulu, baru species dekat belakang. And genus kena huruf besar. So that's why lah Homo H huruf besar. So Homo sapiens stand for human. Okay. And as well as sama juga macam plant. Okay, there are 5 kingdoms of organisms: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Okay, we will go through one by one. Monera are unicellular organisms without nuclear membranes, means that DNA or RNA of this Monera species are scattered in cytoplasm. Okay, such as bacteria. Contohnya bacteria. Bacteria dia tak ada nuclear membranes, so dia punya DNA or RNA dia ada dekat cytoplasm. Okay, kingdom Protista are the unicellular organisms with nuclear membranes, and some have chloroplasts for photosynthesis. Okay, example of Protista: algae, Spirogyra, amoeba, and paramecium. Okay, kingdom fungi. Some are unicellular, some are multicellular, and all of fungi species have nuclear membranes with cell wall that made up of chitin and no true roots, only thread-like hyphae. We call it as myceliums. No chloroplast means that fungi do not carry out photosynthesis. Fungi are saprophytic organisms, saprophytes. So example of fungi, mold, mushrooms, and yeast. Kingdom Plantae, all multicellular organisms with nuclear membranes Immobile, tak bergerak. So plants have cell walls made up of cellulose, and examples of plantae, any plants. Kingdom Animalia, all multicells with nuclear membranes, and Animalia, mostly mobile. Okay, examples, animals and human. Okay, 5 types of microbes. Bacteria, algae, fungi, protozoa, and viruses. Okay, bacteria have cell wall made up of peptidoglycans. They have plasma membranes. This one not have plasma membranes. Do not. Sorry, my mistake. Bacteria doesn't have plasma membranes, so the DNA or an RNA are scattered in the cytoplasms, are not enclosed by membrane. Okay, bacteria have different species with different shape. Okay, if spherical in shape, we call it as cactus. If rod in shape, we call it as bacillus. And if spiral in shape is spirillums. Bacteria will form spores, and these spores reproduce when the condition is unfavorable. Okay, example of bacteria, lactobacillus species. So bacillus. So this lactobacillus species have roots shape. Okay, Staphylococcus species. Staphylococcus, cocci, spherical in shape. Okay, algae. Algae have cell wall that made up of cellulose. Algae doesn't have root, no stem, no leaf. But algae have chloroplast to carry out photosynthesis. So algae green in color. Okay, fungi has cell wall that made up of chitin. No chloroplast, so fungi do not produce its own food. But fungi feeds by secreting enzymes that break down the organic material into simpler molecules and then absorb it. Okay, example of fungi, mucor, this one mucor species, yeast, and also mushroom. Protozoa are unicellular organisms with cytoplasms and plasma membranes, and protozoa can move depends on species. Okay, some species have flagella, some species has cilia, some species has pseudopodia. Okay, such as Euglena. Euglena species move using flagella, tail-like structure. Parameciums move using cilia, bentuk macam penyapu ni. Okay, amoeba species move using pseudopodia, extensive cytoplasm. Okay, viruses have DNA or RNA, and viruses can be crystallized, and viruses are smallest microorganisms. Okay, bear in mind, viruses are not living, and this virus only can survive in host body. Dia hanya boleh hidup bila dalam host body. Okay, types of viruses such as bacteriophage, COVID-19, as well as HIV. This is tobacco mosaic virus. Tobacco mosaic virus. Okay, 4 factors affect activity of microbes: temperature, nutrients, light intensity, and pH. Okay, for the temperature, at low, very low temperature, most microorganisms are inactive. Contohnya, kalau awak perasan, kalau makanan dalam peti awak, dalam refrigerator awak tu mostly makanan tak rosak ataupun lambat rosak because of very low temperature in your fridge. So most microorganisms are inactive at very low temperature. Okey, bila awak keluarkan makanan daripada peti awak nampak lama tinggal dia akan berbau ataupun rosak because optimum temperature for all activities of organisms including microorganisms around 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. At 60 degrees Celsius, most growth of microorganisms are inhibited. Sudah terbantut. At very high temperatures, around 100 degrees Celsius, microbes and spores are destroyed. Sebab itulah kita kena masak untuk bunuh microorganisms. Okay, pH. Different species have different optimum pH. Okay, mediums acidic or acidic selalunya fungi, yeast and protozoa. Okay, medium alkaline mostly for most bacteria. Okay, light intensity. Very low light intensity or dark places for mostly for active bacteria and fungi. Very high light intensity, most microorganisms are destroyed except photosynthetic microbes such as algae. For the nutrients, sama macam kita, all microbes need nutrients such as from glucose, a source of energy. Okay, the rules of useful microbes. Not all microbes are harmful. Some microbes are useful. Okay, microbes used for decompositions carried by decomposers such as saprophytic bacteria and fungi, which these saprophytes will digest dead remains of plants and animals and waste products and release back nutrients into the soil. Okay, here is the example of nitrogen cycles carried out by microbes. Okay, we start with this one. Okay, the living things from the plants and animal as well as humans. Okay, the remains such as the debris, dahan-dahan pokok yang jatuh, daun-daun yang jatuh and also pupu. Okay, so this one, all organisms, dead organisms and remains will be decomposed by fungi or bacteria. And this process will release out ammonia and also ammoniums, okay, to the soil. Okay, nitrosomonas species will turn this ammonia and ammoniums into nitrates. And these nitrates will be turned into nitrates. Nitrites into nitrates. Nitrosomonas will change ammonia and ammoniums into nitrites. Okay, and this nitrite will be changed to nitrates by Nitrobacter species. And this process, we call it as nitrification process. These nitrates will be absorbed by the roots of plant. Okay, and at the same time, the nitrates, okay, will be undergo denitrifications by denitrifying bacteria, which converts nitrates into nitrogen gas. And this nitrogen gas will be released into atmosphere. Okay, got it? Okay, the nitrates that being absorbed by the plants, these plants will transfer the nitrogens into animals or consumers through the food chain. Okay, so we get nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen gas in the atmosphere. The nitrogen gas in the atmosphere will undergo nitrogen fixation. Okay, there are three types of nitrogen fixation process. One is bacteria that fix nitrogen gas into the soils and root nodules in the forms of ammonia and also ammoniums. Okay. Second one is the nitrogen gas through fertilizer. Okay, back into the soil in the forms of nitrates. And the third one is by lightning, kilat. The lightning will fix nitrogen gas in the atmosphere into nitrates. Okay, so and this process we keep cycle. Okay, easy. Okay, some microbes will be used in digestion, such as in herbivores. Okay, in the stomach of the cow, the ruminants. Okay. Symbiotic bacteria and protozoa will secrete cellulose to digest, will secrete cellulase. My mistake once again. Cellulase, the types of enzymes to digest cellulose in plants into glucose. Humans in the colon, large intestine, we have mutualism bacteria, okay, such as we have E. coli that will synthesize vitamin B12 and vitamin K. Okay, termites have mutualism protozoa, okay, a types of protozoa, Trichonympha species to secrete cellulase to digest cellulose in wood into glucose. Okay, harmful microbes. Okay, you need to bear in mind two terms being used for harmful microbes, pathogens and also vectors. Pathogens are microbes that can cause disease, whereas the vector transfer or carry pathogens. Okay, methods of transmissions of pathogen. Okay, by food and drink through our alimentary canals when we or when we eat unclean or contaminated foods and drink or by unwashed hand. These microbes can cause disease such as typhoid and also cholera. Okay, droplet transmissions. Droplets that contain viruses and bacteria are released and float in the air by sneeze, cough, and also spit, such as COVID-19. Okay, the types of disease, cold and tuberculosis. Okay, batuk kering. Okay, airborne disease by pathogens that change into spores that transmitted through the air that can cause respiratory problems. Okay, vectors, organisms that carry disease, such as female mosquito, Anopheles species that transmit protozoa, Plasmodium species that can cause malaria, or houseflies that transmit variety of intestinal disease such as cholera, diarrhea, and also food poisoning. Okay, physical contact for the transmissions. Okay, sharing personal items. Okay, share infected items such as through towels, clothes, and bed linens, such as contagious species, skin disease, tinea. Okay, contohnya kudis, kurap, panau. Okay. Sexual intercourse, having sex with infected persons that can cause AIDS and also syphilis. Okay, the picture is the examples of syphilis. Okay, how to control microbes? Okay, first one is using antibiotics. Antibiotics are chemicals produced by another microbes that is used to inhibit the growth and kills another microbes such as penicillin and also streptomycin. Okay, second, by using vaccine. Vaccine is the suspension of modified and weakened forms of bacteria and virus that being inoculated or injected into our body to induce or trigger productions of antibodies by our own. Okay, such as Sabin vaccine, BCG, measles as well as COVID-19. Okay, measles itu campak. Okay, antiseptics are chemicals to clean the wounds by inhibit the growth of microbes such as iodine. The common yang awak biasa guna, iodine solution. Disinfectants are chemicals to kill microbes or destroy cells and tissues in buildings, floor or furniture or surgical items such as phenols, alcohols, formaldehydes, carbolic acid, as well as, and a simple example, your sanitizer. Okay, the use of microbes in biotechnology. The first one is to create biomass by using anaerobic bacteria. These anaerobic bacteria will digest waste organic matter such as makanan yang awak tak habis ataupun daripada debris tumbuh-tumbuhan yang jatuh-jatuh, daun-daun, dahan, or the pupuh. Okay. All these waste organic matter will be digested by anaerobic bacteria to turns it becomes biogas, such as methane gas. And this methane gas can be used in domestic fuel. Okay, microbes also used to produce antibiotics and vaccines. Okay, microbes also being used to clean up oil spill in oceans by process biorecovery or bioremediation. Okay, the bacteria will decompose oil into carbon dioxide and water. And this carbon dioxide and water, okay, this one less harmful compared to oil. Okay, microbes also being used to treat toxicities waste. Okay, where microbes convert waste in the environments into non-harmful substances. Some microbes are used to process food, such as yeast, using fermentation process. Okay, examples of food that use microbes in the process. Okay, the wine, the dough, the bakery, the cake, as well as yogurt. Okay, that's all for chapter 8. Good luck for your upcoming exam.